Welcome to my 24 by 20 foot shop. While the camera gives you a sense of the current layout, I wanted to talk about why I'm doing this renovation and what it's all about. I'm renovating the shop to accomplish three main goals. The first is to expand my output, the second, create a more inviting space, and the third is to regulate the temperature a little bit better. The shop doesn't have any insulation in the walls or the ceiling, and to make matters worse, they leak a lot of air. I want to insulate these areas as well as add spray foam to create a tight seal. After the walls have been insulated, I'm going to add a used mini split to the space to hopefully remove my need for the propane heater that I'm currently using. After I seal up the walls and add insulation, it will be much harder for me to make changes to the wiring in the shop. So at the same time, I'm going to make a few quality of life changes to the shop. I'm going to add switched outlets to the ceiling for easy lighting changes as needed, add outlets for tools in the ceiling as well for more layout configurations, update the layout to suit my workflow better, and add an additional wall for more vertical storage. Before I make any major changes to the shop, I always mock it up and sketch up, and this situation will be no different. This is the layout that I landed on after trial and error. This is the exterior wall that I will be insulating in this phase of the project. Here is the additional wall that I'm going to be adding. This wall will serve as a place to hang clamps as well as a tool cabinet that I'm currently designing. This wall with the garage door will be done at a later phase after I have added an exterior door to it. Now that I have a layout that I am happy with, I need to lay out the tools in the actual space to match. It might look great on the screen, but actually fall apart in practice. So this step is crucial before I start ripping everything apart. Most of the tools were easy to move around since they're on mobile bases, but this miter saw station has been a total nightmare. After I take out as much weight as I can, I'm having to put one side of each half on this cart and then pick up the other side and slowly slide it into place. Okay, with that monster moved into roughly the right spot, I can get the rest of the tools in their approximate locations and see how the shop feels. So this is generally where everything will be once the project is done. Everything is set up in a way that will allow me to work in circles and have a nice flow to it without getting in my way in the building process. With the proof of concept done, it's time to start cleaning out the attic and remove these floorboards and gain access to the drywall underneath. As you can see, I got quite a lot of stuff to get out of here. Alright, got all the junk out. Now time to start ripping up all of these floorboards. Hopefully I can get them out of here without busting them to pieces. Ignore this terrible electrical work. All of it will be removed when I add more electric and rerun it in a much cleaner way. The floorboards are out, so now I have full access to the entire attic, which will allow me to run all of the electrical, spray the seams with foam, and lay down 2 layers of insulation. Okay, time to get to work on installing the switched outlets. This is the initial layout for the lighting. Again, the lights will all be plugged into outlets in the ceiling, not hardwired to each other, so making changes down the road will be fairly easy. I hate working on ceilings, so I decided to do the layout and install from above since I had full access to the space, and I wanted to make sure all of the holes lined up with the trusses. I marked each spot out, then with the jab saw cut the opening and installed the single gang boxes. After that, I ran Romax for the wiring and tied it into the existing garage light switch. Okay, I think 2 examples is enough. I will save you the footage of me endlessly hammering in staples for all of this Romex wire and wiring it into each outlet, as it's pretty self-explanatory. But this is what the end result looks like. With the lighting done, I can focus my attention on the main exterior wall, which first meant moving this miter saw station once again and clearing the rest of my tools off that wall. A contemplative Jordan enters the scene. Now this is where I might lose some of you, but hear me out. I went back and forth on whether I should spray insulation into this wall or remove the drywall and use traditional fiberglass and then re-drywall it. After running some numbers, I found that it was considerably cheaper to remove the drywall and reinstall new after the fact. And in doing this, it also gave me a few advantages. First, with the walls exposed, I can rerun all of the electrics so that it is fastened to the studs with staples. Second, I will be 100% confident that I have sealed every area air could get through with spray foam. Third, I can add reinforcements to the areas of the walls where my dust collector mounts. Fourth, and most of all, I can now fur the entire wall out with 2x2s, giving me an extra 6R in insulation value. You ever stop and ask yourself, what the heck am I doing? With the drywall out, it's time to remove the old outlets and wiring. Boy, am I happy to get this out of here. I am not a fan of retrofit wiring in old work boxes like this, so anytime I have a chance to replace them with the wiring stapled to the studs and nailed on boxes, I'll take it. Before I can start sealing up the attic, I need to run new wires to the attic down into the side of this wall. The rest of the outlets on this wall will be fed from these lines, so let's get that done now. All right, now that I got the cable pulled down the wall, I am going to fish the cables through these studs and staple as I go and kind of clean it up. On the very end of this run is where the junction boxes come up from the basement for the power, so I don't have to run these really that far, but I do want to get them ran before I start spraying foam insulation and stuff, so I can fill the holes that I drilled through on the 2x4s and as well as all these cracks. I don't want to have to be running wire and removing insulation after the fact, so I want to make sure I get all this work done first before I start adding my insulation. Alright, well that was a total pain in the butt to get these stapled without the wires being twisted like crazy, but I got it done and I'm ready to move on to the next step. Okay, so here is the wire coming down from the attic stapled onto the 2x4 wall. And here's what the outlets in the ceiling look like after they're done and wired in. Alright, so I think that wraps up the part 1 of this project. In the next video, I really hope to get the insulation in the attic done, at least the first layer of it, and all of the seams sealed with foam, as well as a few other tidy up things that I forgot to do in this video. Thank you very much for watching.